It's finally over. After 2 years, we finally have all the waves of the Mario Kart 8 Booster Course Pass. And although Wave 1 was pretty bad, Nintendo actually listened to the feedback and all the waves after that were really good. So however, we look back on this DLC and try to find the top 10 best Mario Kart 8 Booster Course Pass tracks. Because this pass added 42 new courses, there are a lot of good courses that have been added in the last year. So let's just get into the video. Here are the top 10 best tracks from the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass. According to leaks, Waluigi Stadium was supposed to come out in Wave 3, but it ended up getting delayed to Wave 4, but the wait was definitely worth it. This track was really good in Double Dash and Wii, and this version has kept everything from those two versions, but added even more stuff, like 2 alternate routes that you can access by going on the half pipes. The second one even allows you to glide over the finishing line, which is super cool as usual. And although those are probably the 2 highlights, this track looks really good as well. The lighting looks as good as the tracks from the base game. And that's saying a lot because the lighting in those tracks are really good. And this music is so good. It was such a good idea using trumpets for this song. And besides all the new stuff they added, this track just has a really good layout, which makes it one of the best tracks added to the Booster Course Pass. The only thing keeping this track so low is that it's not very creative, but otherwise this track is really good. Honestly, I'm still blown away that Nintendo decided to make a bathroom track. But I mean, here we are with Squeaky Clean Sprint from Wave 5. They went straight out with the bathroom layout. You go in a sink, you fly into a bathtub, and then go in the plug hole. And at the end of the track, you have to use trawler water getting sprayed out of a broken trawler to get onto a shelf. Yeah, Mario's probably too busy go-karting to fix it. But anyway, another thing that I really like about this course is the amount of shortcuts are. There's like 5 or something. It's a pretty basic one where you can use a mushroom to cut through this soap. But when you go into the plug hole, there's this ring somebody dropped in the bath. And you can go through it to get a double item box if you have a mushroom. The best one is only open on the second lap. If you manage to get onto the top shelf in the second lap, you can glide into another shelf next to the starting line. And get this, if you have better item luck than I do in this footage, then you can trick off a mushroom gorge mushroom that is being planted in a pot plant here. That is super cool. There's also so many references in this track. I feel like this track could grow even more on me over time. But right now, this track could have got higher if the music was a bit better and you could get onto the top shelf on the first lap. But this is nonetheless such a fun and creative course. At the start of this year, I made a video trying to beat the Star Cup in Super Mario Kart. And one track that drove me absolutely insane was the third Bowser's Castle course.
How is Luigi? Already run, I said that like 50 times. But how is he already run and why can't I beat him? Oh my god, I hate this game.
But despite not being able to beat this course, I've always wanted to see a SNES Bowser's Castle remade. So I was so excited when I saw this track was being remade in Mario Kart 8. First off, this track looks incredible. I'm so happy this track isn't like SNES Mario Circuit 3 where the track's exactly the same as every other version made before it. And the layout is really cool. Some of the standard moments for me in this course are this part with all the split paths, and the 3 paths at the end are super narrow but all have their benefits of taking them. And then there's this part with these super narrow walls you can drive up. This section has the perfect difficulty, because although it's not that easy to stay on the walls, it is very much possible. And they actually had a good useful anti-gravity. And if you're watching this video at launch, you're probably thinking that this is recency biased, as Wave 6 released only 2 weeks ago. But this track has really impressed me, and I've been waiting for SNES Bowser's Castle to be remade for a long time. So I hope I can see this track in the same light that I can see GBA Bowser's Castle 3 from Mario Kart Wii, which is one of the best retro tracks ever. And now we have our first city track, with Athens Dash. By the time Wave 5 came around, the city tracks were starting to feel bland. But this track literally lets you drive around the Pantheon. I always thought it would be cool to have a realistic ruin track, and that's exactly what Athens Dash brings to the table. Of course, like every city course in this game, Athens Dash has sections instead of laps. So there's quite a lot to take in from this track. But some of my favourite parts of this track is this section on the start where you can drive and trick off this pillar, gliding into the cave and then tricking off the half pipe. this cave shortcut that you can do streamless if you're using a better combo than me, and possibly the best part about this track, the shortcut that you can do at the end, as long as you have a mushroom or a shell. I also love this music. It doesn't really sound like Greek music, but it has an ancient vibe. In fact, it kind of reminds me of music that you find in 3D Mario games. It especially reminds me of the Cascade Kingdom's music from Super Mario Odyssey. The visuals, however, are kind of weird. So the texturing on everything inside the Parthenon is incredible, but then everything outside the Parthenon and the trees just look awful. And people still wonder why the only thing people talk about Greece is their history. Look, maybe if your trees are so short and sealed-esque, it would be a relevant country. But it doesn't really matter. Astroina Kredavazi and Akraseradakia Pista. Please tell me I said that right. I didn't, did I? Now let's talk about the final track added in 2022, which was very fittingly 3DS Rainbow Road. This track looks amazing this time around, especially the skybox and the road, which honestly looks like something out of the base game. And just like the original version, the layout is still amazing. You can't tell me that driving on the rings of Saturn and on the moon is not one of the best experiences you've ever had in Mario Kart. Despite this being a second track, there's never a moment that you feel like you're not doing anything, and this is just an adventurous course in general. However, I don't really know how to feel about the remix music. I mean, the music doesn't sound awful, especially compared to the job they did with N64 Rainbow Road, but I think I prefer the Mario Kart 7 version a lot more. It just sounds a lot more fitting, but any Rainbow Road is a great Rainbow Road. Well, unless it's a 64 version, but let's forget that it's this. And at number 5, we have another Wave 3DS course with Alpine Pass. And yes, Americans, it's Alpine Pass, not Rock Mountain. Rock Mountain is literally the stupidest name ever. But now we've got that out of the way, I really like the idea of this course. This track reminds me of going on car trips in the mountains. And I don't think I'm the only one here that always wanted to get out of the car to go exploring the mountains Breath of the Wild style, right? But outside of that, this course is really fun. The standout moment in this track is the glider section, which is one of the best use for gliders in any Mario Kart track. And plus, it actually explores the tree nature of this course. Plus, some other great moments in this track include driving into the cave and avoiding the swoopers, the drive up the mountain and trying to hit all the boost panels, and who can forget gliding over the finishing line and trying to hit the windpipe to make an epic game of shortcut. And also, there's a lot of shortcuts you can do on this track. In this version, they added anti-gravity on the drive up the mountain, which was a really good addition. And this track is made even better by the music, although I think they could have done more with the electric guitar in this version. But the biggest problem with this course is probably the graphics. This course looks like a Wave 2 course, and honestly the 3DS version looks better than this. But that's a small price to pay for such a great course. Now it's time to head down to Chinatown with Singapore Speedway. Yeah, don't question it. This is one of the most fulfilling city courses in the game. Like every city track, this is a section track, but there's never a dull moment in this track. Straight off the bat, you're shot out of this fancy cannon and land on a hotel with Goombas and floaties. And that's only the start. In the second lap, you go through Chinatown, and then you get to glide through the building in front of the hotel you were just at, and this scene looks incredible, but the third lap is just insane. You start by driving on conveyor belts, and then you head back to the hotel for an insane gliding section, and then you go back to Chinatown, and have I mentioned how catchy the Chinatown variant of this song is? Because it is. And finally you're at the end, but there's a piece of grass you can cut through that has led to so many close races. So yeah, pretty common course. Also, this track just looks incredible. Although the textures aren't very complicated, the illuminated buildings and the night sky look so good. The only thing this track is missing is being from Mario Kart Wii, so let's fill that gap up with the next course. I didn't particularly like many of the Wii tracks on the Booster Course Pass, mainly because they weren't as good as the original, which is saying a lot considering we have 11. But in Wave 4, we finally got a track that was on par with its original, that being DK Summit. This track got a big visual upgrade. I think it's really cool that there's now snow on the cannon, but that doesn't really matter because they did the unthinkable with this track. They didn't remove or change anything about this track. Finally, they learned that you don't need to change anything with the Wii tracks. By making the cars stay still, they didn't change the mushroom layout, They didn't make the tube section underwater. They didn't destroy the music. Well, I hate a lot of Wii remakes because of the music. Oh wait, but the music here is actually really good. They made the music more technical in this version, which sounds really good. And oh my god, they kept the jump cut in. Nintendo's a legend for keeping that in. But anyway, you can't go wrong with DK Summit. Make sure you grab your kangaroo because now it's time to go to the course down under with Sydney Sprint. You start this track by driving into the Sydney Opera House and then glide to Luna Park. As somebody who's been to Sydney, it was so cool to see Luna Park. And quite honestly, if you told me that Luna Park would be in Mario Kart 5 years ago, I would have told you to go to an asylum. Although to be quite honest, if you told me that Mario Kart 8 will get double the tracks in 2022, I would have also said you were mad. But anyway, you then go on the Sydney Bridge before finishing the lap. The second lap isn't as interesting, but I really like how at the start of the lap you get to jump off a boat. For most of the second lap you're on this park, but the turns are really good for drifting and there's a lot of off-road shortcuts. And then you're on the Sydney Harbour Bridge again, but there's a catch. For the first lap there was these obstacles you had to avoid. Those obstacles were boost ramps because you're driving on the Harbour Bridge backwards, you get to use them now. It was a genius idea. And then finally there's the third lap, which is just the first lap backwards, which I prefer way more than doing another variant of the track. I haven't even touched on this track's music. They did such a good job making this song jazz. The saxophone goes super hard with this song and honestly makes it one of the best songs in any Mario Kart track. And of course, going back to the layout, I really like how this track doesn't overstay its welcome. To be honest, it's what a lot of the other city tracks do, but this track is paced perfectly. There's only one problem with this track. Being from Wave 2, the textures are really bad. All the grass is untextured, and what are these toads in the Opera House? Nintendo, do you really think you're gonna get away with making these toads not even look like they're in 3D? They literally look like something out of a DS game, seriously. But it doesn't really matter considering how good this course is, but there is one track that is better.
In my opinion, it's my favourite like this video because you don't think I have a fuck on since my Rainbow Road hasn't appeared on this list yet? Well, now it has because Rainbow Road is number 2 on my list. And in the background you can see Rainbow Road. But this isn't just any Rainbow Road, this is the Rainbow Road from Mario Kart Wii. You know, my second favourite course from the game that I won't shut up about, yeah, that one.
I'd much rather see Maple Tree Way or Cooper Cave, although I would really like to see Rainbow Road back. Please remake those tracks, Nintendo. Just hype for Rainbow Road. Try and predict what's gonna be on my next list. Tell your friend off. After 15 years, the GOAT has returned to Mario Kart. Okay, technically it was 10 months, but we don't talk about the tools we made. But anyway, Rainbow Road was the last track added to the Booster Course Pass, and what a finish this was. This game makes me feel sad for Xbox and PlayStation players that think Spider-Man 2 is the best looking game ever. Cause this is the best looking thing that I've ever seen on a console. The road looks great, the star bits look great, the earth looks great, and the skybooks looks amazing. This track is so faithful to the original, which is a great thing because of how good that version is. Not only is the layout the exact same, but just like in Wii, you get sent hurling towards Earth when you fall off the road. I was so mind blown by that I was worried that I wouldn't even be able to finish my lap before I was dead. The anti-gravity is done very well on this track. Yeah, the music might not be as good as the original, but I still really like it. But probably the biggest problem with this track is that it's not as high as the original, which isn't really surprising, because Mario Kart 8 is just an idiot game of Wii. But yeah, thanks for watching this video.
So in the description of my last video, I said that video could hit 5 likes, I will do a face reveal, and that video got 6 likes. Today I'm gonna do a face reveal and rate all the Mario Kart 8 Booster Course Pass cars. So let's get into it. First up we have the Golden Dash car, and honestly, this might be a bit controversial, but I think the first wave of the Mario Kart 8 Booster Course Pass is the worst thing that's ever happened to the Mario Kart franchise. So with that said, I have to put the Golden Dash Cup in F tier. Look, I love Coconut Mall, but then we have tracks like Tour Powers Promenade, which looks awful, and Toad Circle looks even worse. And Choco Mountain's music actually makes me want to die. So yeah, this is an easy out. Okay, that's the other way one cup is the Lucky Cat Cup. And honestly, this cup does not deserve that big work at it. So anyway, let's get the good out of the way. I really like String Ridge and Ninja Hideaway. They do look pretty bad, but they're fun to race. Then we have Tokyo Blur, which is a pretty bad course, but at least it leads to some close matches. But then we have literally the worst cup track in this game, Sky Garden. I love the original version and the DS remake, but this is literally an awful track. I don't want to talk too much about it because I talked a lot about it in the top 10 worst retro tracks in Mario Kart. You can go and watch that, but anyway, I really don't. And anyway, any track with this course would be an F tier. So anyway, this isn't as bad as the last car we talked about, but it still is really bad. Okay, now on to Wave 2. I like Wave 2 a lot more than Wave 1. So now let's talk about a pretty sad course, which is a Turnip Cup. So I love 3 out of the 4 tracks in this car. New York Minute's a great city track, probably one of my favorites. There's Calamari Desert, which is one of my favorite Mario Kart 64 tracks, if not my favorite. And I love what they did with this track. And then we have Wally v Pinball, and I probably don't even need to talk about Wally v Pinball. But then there's Mario Circuit 3. I do not understand why they bring this track back. Literally, I would much rather Mario Circuit 2, and Mario Circuit 3 is just one of the most overrated tracks ever. Although I don't actually know anybody who likes Mario Circuit 3, yeah? So, I don't know what Nintendo is thinking adding Mario Circuit 3, but the Turnip Cup is B tier. So, it's pretty good, just, if it didn't have Mario Circuit 3, this could have probably been S tier, so that's sad. So I know a lot of people love the Propeller Cup, but honestly, I just think it's okay. I only get like half the tracks in this car. So as I said earlier in this video, I love City Spin. But I also love Mushroom Gorge. Of course, this is my favorite Mario Kart game ever, so yeah, I really like Mushroom Gorge. But then we have GBA Snowland. I despise the original version of this course. And the remake is a bit better. I know a lot of people love doing shortcuts on this track, but that does not save it for me. It still has one of the most generic layouts ever. But it isn't as generic as Sky High Sunday, which might even be worse. So yeah, the Propeller Cup is just okay, and is a CPR. So anyway, that's my tier list. I hope you enjoyed the list. Definitely no biasing. I'm obviously not obsessed with Mario Kart Wii, and I'm not Australian. But anyway, this channel has 26 subs, and my goal for the year was to get it to 30 subs. That was so close. So I would really appreciate it if you subscribe to get it to 30 subs before New Year's Eve. That would be amazing. But anyway, sorry this video came out, took so long to make. I've been really busy. But anyway, thanks for watching, and bye.